Hi there, let me take you back to the 70s and listen to some great love songs.
Well, I heard the news. That's good to rockin' tonight. Well, I heard the news. That's good to rockin' tonight.
I love you, and I always will.
Hi there, welcome to your Elvis Guide. With Valentine's Day coming up, I thought what would be more appropriate than put the spotlight on some of the greatest love songs Elvis recorded. Well, the problem with that is that most of them you do know, and that's not really a problem because Elvis material is very famous. Like this one, for example, Love Me Tender, played a little bit for you. You probably won't recognize the extended play. It's from Belgium, and it's from 1957. It's one of the first extended plays to hit the Netherlands and Belgium with Elvis' name on it. And I'm very proud to have this one, and it's great. And I just thought this would be a nice opportunity to introduce it to you. Most of the material I'm going to play in this episode is from the 70s. And the first, I thought, well, let's do something special. Do not like just play the love songs, but let's check out some real great live versions of it. So that's the plan for tonight. I hope you like that. The first one coming up is from November 9, Kansas City. And Elvis over there did a great rendition of that other very famous love song. Are You Lonesome Tonight?
Fate had me playing in love with you, especially hard. Act 1 was where we met. I loved you at first glance. You read your lines so cleverly, never missed a cue. Then came Act 2. You seemed to change, you acted strange, and why I've never known. Honey, you lied when you said you loved me, and I had no cause to doubt you. But I'd really go on hearing your lies, and they go on living without you. Now the stage is bare, and I'm sitting there with emptiness all around. And if you won't come back to me, then I can bring the curtain down. Is your heart full of pain? Shall I come back again? Tell me, dear, are you lonesome tonight?
1971, Are You Lonesome Tonight, Kansas City. Well, of course, the following year, Elvis had a very, very busy year. It was like filming Elvis on tour. Did some great concerts in the spring that were recorded for the documentary. And then a few months later, Elvis was in Madison Square Garden in New York, selling out 4 concerts and giving a kick-ass concert. And then it was from New York, he went to the summer season, the summer festival in July and August of 1972. And that's probably one of the best Vegas seasons Elvis ever performed. From August 18, 1972. This is Until It's Time for You to Go.
This love of mine has no beginning, it has no end, or seventeen. I wasn't aware, I'm aware, and I can bear, and though I'll never in my life see you again, here I stay till it's time for you to go.
August 18, 1972, Until It's Time for You to Go, from Elvis in Las Vegas. And from 1972, of course, we jump over to 1973. On January 12 and January 14, we had these great concerts Elvis gave from Honolulu, Hawaii. Well, I thought that would be too easy to pick that one. But Elvis did a song that he did on the very first concert he did in Las Vegas, as well as on the very last concert he gave in 1977. And there are not too many songs that he did that were in both shows, and was there all through the 70s. And that's I Can't Stop Loving You. And it's probably a song that Elvis liked very much because of the power he could invest while singing it. And even in Indianapolis, in the Market Square Arena on June 26, 1977, it's one of the best performances of the night. That's not the performance I'm going to share with you tonight. Tonight's performance is from June 23. It's from Uniondale, and it's a real kick-ass performance.
You know what I can't do, baby? Well, I can't stop loving you. I said I made up my mind long time ago that you live in memory for such a long time. Well, I can't stop loving you. For the truth that you just the same. So I just live my life in dreams of yesterday. For those times, the hours, yeah, I really want to. That's all I know. They tell me, make me blue. They say the time to hear the broken heart. Yeah, time to sing, to be to the part. Now I can't stop loving you. I said I made up my mind to live in memory for such a long time. And I can't stop loving you. For the juice that you just the same. And so I just live my life in reason, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Elvis in Uniondale, New York, from the Nassau Coliseum. I Can't Stop Loving You, and it must have been one of Elvis' most favorite records or songs to perform. Well, it must have been one of Elvis' most favorite songs to perform. Well, it must have been one of Elvis' most favorite songs to perform. Another favorite of his, and it happened to be a favorite of mine as well, is a great track Elvis recorded in 1971 in the studio, and it's called I'm Leaving. And it's so nice when you listen to those session tapes where Elvis is struggling and in really investing in this recording, and somehow he's trying to find his way, because it's well, Elvis was very, very, very strong in the 70s with putting power in his voice, but this voice or this song demanded an attitude of less is more. You could see Elvis struggle a little bit with that, but he had a very, very, very light tone. Somewhere in between takes, Elvis says to one of his musicians, the thing is well worth working on. So basically said, well, sometimes there are songs that just songs, but this was one that came into his heart, and well, he wanted to get the maximum out of it. You could see that because the song almost instantly, when he had recorded it, he took it with him on tour, and it's in some 1971 concerts, but it's traveled all along until about 1975, and then it fell off the set list. But I've always liked I'm Leaving. And the version I have for you today is a version Elvis performed on August 19, 1974. And that's the great opening show Elvis gave in Las Vegas of that season. And that's the Vegas show in which he planned to do it all different. He skipped out the regular opening, also Sprach Hustra. And he skipped CC Rider and started with Big Boss Man. And then just skipped most of the oldies and put some great ballads on the set list. And he had a great contemporary show, but somehow he felt the response was not what he felt it should be. So the very next day, he just changed it all back and did his routine show with a few adjustments. And that's a real shame, because it could have brought Elvis a new path.
Wait a minute, honey. I got fever, just can't help believe it. And I'm leaving, all three at one time. God, I'll leave. Okay, all at once. I'm leaving. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. When will I know what's inside me? I'm so lonely, trying so hard each time I just can't make it. Feeling fast vibrations and I just can't take it. Living from day to day, chasing a dream. Trying so hard each time I just can't make it. Feeling fast vibrations and I just can't take it. Living from day to day, chasing a dream. Okay, thank you.
That was I'm Leaving from August 1974. 1 year later, on August 18, Elvis again was opening his summer season, his summer festival in Las Vegas. And, well, he had thought of something new, and that's the request box shows. So waiters just went through the audience and people could put in some papers with songs on it, and then Elvis would eventually pick some songs from them and just sing it, whether he had rehearsed it or not. And that's why we have, from this August festival, we do have You're So Young and Beautiful, for example, which is a great off-the-cuff version. It's not too polished, but it's from the heart. And, well, another steady song that was still on the show in 1975 is The Wonder of You. And The Wonder of You was released as a single in 1970. As you know, it was recorded during the 1970, the February 1970 engagement in Las Vegas, and then released on the On Stage album. And, well, in America it wasn't really a big hit. But in Europe it was, and especially in the United Kingdom. So Elvis was really it was really in line with In the Ghetto and Suspicious Minds. It was a very big hit, and Elvis also very much liked the song. So he brought the song live in August 1970, and then it disappeared from the set list for quite a while. But in 1970 it was back, And it's a great, I think it was in Shreveport in June 9, on June 9, that Elvis asked the audience, did you see that movie last night? And apparently, or on local television or on national television, That's the Way It Is aired that night before. So Elvis was referring to the television screening of That's the Way It Is, and then played The Wonder of You. And The Wonder of You would be on the set list of quite a few shows in 1975, and then disappeared again. Although the Nothing Beats the 1970 version, I feel that's so rock solid. I do feel the 1975 version is great. So let's check it out.
A song we did about 3 years ago called The Wonder of You. When no one else can understand me, when everything I control, you give me hope and consolation, you give me strength to carry on, and you always stand to lend a hand in everything I do. That's the wonder of you. And when you smile, the world is brighter. You touch my hand and I'm a king. Your kiss to me is worth a fortune. Your love for me is everything. I guess I'll never. You love me as you do. That's the wonder of you. Thank you. You love me as you do. That's the wonder of you.
Okay, that's The Wonder of You, originally recorded in 1970, but it was a 1975 version from August 18 from Las Vegas. The Wonder of You. Another song Elvis must have liked or struggled with. I'm not sure what it is. I'm sure he liked it, but he also struggled with it because the the very first Elvis recorded Love Letters in 1966, and it was one of the very few highlights of the late 60s before the Guitar sessions, and I always thought it was a great recording. But in 1970, during the Marathon Nashville sessions, Elvis re-recorded Love Letters because I thought it was David Breaks, the piano player, that said, well, Elvis, the 1966 recording was nice. 1966 was the very first recording session David Breaks was involved in, but David Breaks never had the feeling David Breaks had the feeling that Elvis could do better on Love Letters. So in 1970, during the Marathon Nashville recordings, Elvis took on the challenge and tried to record a version of Love Letters that was supposed to be better than the 1966 single version. Well, if you listen to the version that became the headline song of the Love Letters from Elvis album, then I'm not sure. Basically, I'm sure that the 1966 version is better. But I feel it's I feel it's just a decision I make on taste and intuition. I don't know whether what what Elvis and David Briggs had in mind to improve the song. By I think it was 1975, could have been 1974, but Elvis included Love Letters on his set list, and David Briggs as a piano player played the song, and Elvis sang, and that was mostly done during the introductions of the musicians, and that's why some of the versions are really rushed, like it was a throwaway version. And it's also so the even live, some were sleepwalking versions and the tempo was kind of slow, and I thought, well, let's get it over with. Some were kept very short because apparently the crew was in a hurry and they just had to tip off the song. And some versions were very pretty. And one of the pretty versions is a version of Love Letter from number 15, 1976, from Chicago. And it's beautiful. Let's listen to that.
Love letters straight from your heart, they keep us so near while apart. I'm not alone in the night. When I can have all the love you I memorize every line. I kiss the name that you sign. And darling, then I read again, right from the start. Oh, yes, love letters straight all the way from your heart.
Thank you. Thank you, David. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, love letters from October 15, 1976, Chicago. Last song I'm going to do tonight is also one of the last songs Elvis sang live. And it is a coincidence that it's also recorded during the Nashville Marathon in June of 1970. It's a great country ballad, and it's I Really Don't Want to Know. And I Really Don't Want to Know first was released on the Elvis Country album, which I think it's a great album. But it was not like, for me, it wasn't the highlight song. The entire album I thought was very strong, but it wasn't like the song stood out on that album. Until I heard Elvis do I Really Don't Want to Know in 1977. And, well, we could say a lot about Elvis in 1977. And he surely wasn't in good shape. And there was a lot wrong. But those 1977 versions of I Really Don't Want to Know, well, they're magnificent. That light, broken voice, that intense sadness he presents in the song, and then the nakedness of Elvis just singing it, and with not an entire orchestra backing him up, but just he must have been naked on the stage or something, but that's how it feels. He just, like he's pouring his heart out, and somehow I feel he sings it for Ginger Alden, who's in the audience, and probably a girl. She should have been 19 or 20 or something, and just messing around with everyone, and Elvis just adored her and thought, I really don't want to know what you're doing, but please be with me. That's the impression. And, well, maybe artists are the best when they're sad. But for this version of I Really Don't Want to Know, I really like the 1977 version. And you will hear it from Market Square Arena, June 26, 1977, Elvis' last concert in Indianapolis. Before I'm going to play that tune and leave you with it, before I'm going to leave you with this song, I'm going to wish you a hell of a week. Stay healthy, and check in next week, next Tuesday, for another upload. And, well, if you like my channel, then subscribe. And if you like this video, then thumbs up. And if you have any suggestions, or you've got music to share, or you do have tapes that nobody has ever heard before, or whatever you want to share and you don't want to share it with all in the comments, then just email me on yourelvisguide@gmail.com. Your mails are very appreciated, and enjoy Valentine's Day with the ones you love, and make it a very special evening, night, or whatever you're going to do. I'm sure I'm going to do that. Reminds me. But for now, But for now, Elvis in 1977. I really don't want to know. Bye!
Oh, how many how many, I wonder what a
Elvis has left the building. I've told you absolutely straight up to this point, you know that he has left the building. He left the stage and went out the back with the policeman, and he is now gone from the building.